the world on this live session today. Today we're going to be talking about just how to function in the storm. Indeed, there is a storm going on right now.
Indeed, there is a storm, and for some people it's rockier than for others.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because I know you were, and probably still is to an extent, because they asked you to come back, very qualified nurse, nursing professional at a high level. You are an entrepreneur at heart. You run a global brand, Jacynth Ivey Global, jacynthivey.com. You run another business, which you teach and train across the UK. You're on podcasts, you're on interviews, you're on all sorts of things. Tell us a little bit about your take on this storm that's happening right now, because it is a storm for some people.
It is a storm, and I think for a lot of people it feels like it's come left of field. And even though we heard the news about what was happening in Wuhan, we still, I think for some people, never thought it would come to our own shores. And I'm sure across the globe people think that it would never come to their own shores. And so I think for the majority of us, we just were not prepared. And as you say, I sit on, as a non-executive director, 2 health boards, and we watched it kind of slowly come, and then there's a flurry of activity in terms of making sure organizations were ready for it.
But okay, it's one thing that organizations may not be ready, but let's talk about the individuals for a minute. People who are in the storm. We were talking about this earlier on today, and the word you said was stay in the boat, but what do they do in the boat? People are losing their jobs, people are losing their homes, husbands and wives are having problems, children are getting agitated, everybody is, indoors. How do people deal with this storm? What are some of the things that they can do?
There are certain things that are actually going to be out of our control, but there is stuff that we can do. And I think the number one thing is our mental health. It's really around how do we navigate ourselves, our mind throughout this. And for a lot of people, it's very new having to stay home for so long. A holiday for them, time away from work is a holiday, you do things. But this is actually having to stay home. So it's new. They're having to stay in environments with their spouses, with their children for a long time. They're having to work from home. There's the isolation. They're worried. And so mental health is a really big issue for all of us. It really is.
So let's I want to just share the screen so everybody can see, both of us talking, at the same time here. How do we get that mind space? Because I work from home, and I've worked from home for years. And so I understand with my own mind space, what are some of the things I do? So I say to my husband, go away, I need my space, leave me alone. And I know to shut off myself. But what about people that live in small, homes and who are, don't have, outside space? How do they find that mind space during this time?
And that's a real issue. And I think that there has to be an initial discussion to kind of have some form of conversation, negotiation about what the day will look like. It is really important to have routine. So if you're used to going out to work every day, then actually you're not going to work. So maybe you get up a little bit later. Maybe you're not getting dressed, you're not getting washed, you sit around. Well, actually, the advice would be to get some routine in the house for you and for everybody else in that house, to negotiate what quiet time looks like. So maybe it's actually me sitting on a certain chair with my headphones on, reading something. That means, please don't disturb me for this hour. So it really is a lot about give and take. It might mean a family saying, well, actually, I'm going to go up to my bedroom for this hour for a little bit of space. When I come down, you can go. So it's negotiating. What does that space look like within a potentially small environment?
Right. So, okay, let's talk about working from home, because a lot of people, they've been asking me about working from home. I work from home. I run all my businesses from home. For me, it's normal. We have different offices. My husband is in his office. I'm in mine. But when we get up in the morning and we treat it like we're going to work. So he goes into his office, I go into mine. We meet together for lunch. We sit and we have an hour out for lunch. And then we go back and we work. And then we meet again in the afternoon, evening for dinner. And then we call that a night. So for us, it's normal working from home. It's normal being with each other all the time. And then sometimes after work, we go for a walk just to get some exercise and get away from everything. So we're accustomed with all of that sort of, that sort of routine. But a lot of people are not accustomed to working from home. What are some of the do's and don'ts from a health perspective, from a wellness perspective, that couples, families can do working from home?
So some of the do's is find space, create a corner, a space that is going to be your workspace. So that might mean moving things around. It's talking with family members, household members to say, this space, this area is my office area, is where I'm going to put my laptop, is my office area. I talked about routines, and you fantastically demonstrated a work from home routine. So you have to have a routine of when you get up, when are you going to have your break, when are you going to have your lunch, when are you going to finish. What a lot of organizations are also encouraging people to do is to make sure that actually they communicate with their colleagues throughout the day. Absolutely. Because they would do that if they're in the workplace. So they're using different platforms to do that, or a check-in phone call to do that. It's really important as well to share some good stuff. Some good news. I had a great day, went out for a walk this morning, and the flowers were beautiful. It's to share something that is really good and uplifting throughout the day. Sometimes it's hard to not to be distracted with things like, I'm going to put the washing in, or I'll stop and cook dinner. And so it's just to remember.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that right there, because that's something that we had a discussion, my husband and I, loud one, about sort of being during the day, making sure that work happens as if you are in the office during the day, even you're at home. There's nothing going on in the background. There's no noise in the background. Everybody's get to work and everybody's at work and doing the things that is required during the work day. How easy or how difficult is that for people, being able to treat it as if they are actually in the office and not get distracted by the TV or by the washing or by, or by those things that they do, or by they want to clean the house and all of that sort of thing that people want to do while they're working.
And it can be extremely difficult because of the potential to be distracted. But if you've got a routine for your day, then actually, because you're not traveling to work, and if you're getting up at the same time, you've possibly got a little bit of time there where you can perhaps put the washing in, do your little bit of cleaning. It really is important to have an end time to your day. Because actually working from home, it can, it can elongate. You start to put the laptop on your lap while you're watching the television, while you're cooking the dinner, you're checking your emails. It's really important to log off and have an end time to your day.
Listen, I must share the story. I have to share the story, because this is a typical what not to do cooking while you're working. So I don't do it anymore. In my previous house, Andrew went out and I'm sort of working, and I was, and I was doing another business, not what I'm doing now. And I put some eggs to boil. And I thought, right, I am going to come downstairs just now and I'm going to sort out the eggs, because I just want something quick. I have eggs with salad and I'm good for lunch. I forgot the eggs. And I'm on the phone, Jacynth. I am on the phone and I'm killing it on the phone. And then I hear, "Boom!" And I thought, what's that? Oh, Andrew probably came back in. Oh, I'm just going to wait till he'll come upstairs. And then I hear, "Pow!" I was like, my God, the eggs. When I went downstairs, it was eggs everywhere, from ceiling to floor. Literally, eggs was everywhere. And Andrew came in, and I just quietly went back upstairs, and I carried on the phone because I work. And Andrew came in, and he says a crunch. And then he was like, oh, no. And that was probably one of the last days so what I do now is that I plan my meals for the week, even though I'm at home. So not to avoid in the kitchen being blasted with eggs. Why is it that's so important that people plan their meals, even when they're home?
It's important to plan your meals so you get a balanced diet, so that actually we're not doing that grab and go thing where actually we're going to grab the nearest thing and throw it in the oven. You know, it might be a pizza, or I don't know, some cake or something that would, you know, even your lunch, if you're working from home, make your salad in the morning before you start work, make your sandwich before you start work, treat it as a normal day. And it's really important to move from your workspace. Yeah, so don't eat your lunch in your workspace.
I was so guilty of that for like 7 years.
Move from your workspace, you know, go and sit outside. At lunchtime, you might decide, actually, you know, you're going to go for a walk. And look, and when you go for a walk, start to notice things you've never noticed before.
All right, so let's switch gears a bit. People are scared about the income. They're scared about the time. They're scared about their finances. They're scared about all of those things. You know me, I teach on creating multiple incomes. It's my passion, it's my heart, because I just know when you don't, and something happens, where that person will end up. So we're dealing with a lot of people who have fear because of job loss, because of they're not sure what's going to happen with their business. They're not sure they have enough income to cover things because they don't have multiple incomes. And so they stop and they do nothing. We were talking about this a couple of days ago. We were talking about what do you do during this process stage, this fearful stage. What would you say that people should do during this stage?
The first thing to say is fear of failure is the number one fear, absolute number one fear. But also we know that actually that fear can really hold you back and can stop you. It can make you freeze, can make you play dead. And so we've got this period of time, this period of self-distancing, social distancing, isolation, to really start to look ahead. Look ahead, revisit where you've been, revisit, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're running your own business, revisit your vision. Is it fit for purpose? You know, listen to the news, look ahead. What is it that people want? What is it that people desire coming out of this situation? Where can you start to see the possibilities? Because possibilities are endless. And successful people will see possibilities within all kind of dark situations. And it's about not putting the limitations on those possibilities. I kind of call it do possibility thinking. You know, throw it all out. It may not all make sense. It may not all come to fruition. But in that time, there'll be a nugget of something that actually makes absolute sense. That is a real absolute possibility for you. And it's really important at this time to say, actually, we're going to take a risk because we don't know what's going to happen 3 months from here. We don't know what's going to happen. But actually, we can afford to take risks. We can experiment. We can go back and look at, well, what have we got in our armory, in our kit bag? In terms of our own knowledge and skills, our competences, who's in our networks. Can we perhaps start to look at joint ventures with people, use associates? So it's the time to, when people talk about thinking out of box, but it's the time to do some real possibility thinking. What could I possibly do? Yes, when 3 months is up, when 6 months is up, what could I be doing?
You know, the sad thing is, the next 3 months is going to pass like that.
Absolutely.
We would remember COVID-19, we remember all the stuff that's going on now and whatever, but it's going to pass like that. And new opportunities will come up. New opportunities will arise. And new challenges will come up. And the things that people don't do in the next 90 days, they are going to pay for it 90 days later. And I've been preaching this to people for weeks, months, years. What is happening right now is so crucial. If you miss the boat in what's going on right now and don't implement some of the things you want to do, it's going to get really challenging moving forward.
And that's why I think it's really crucial that you become a risk taker. And that actually you don't procrastinate. You don't wait for things to be absolutely perfect. Because by the time you've waited for it to be perfect, we've moved on beyond the 90 days.
Absolutely.
And it's so, how do you take hold of those possibilities and start to create an actionable plan? Because the most important step is the first step.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know you have a Facebook group called Accept Your Brilliance, and we're inviting people to join that Facebook group, Accept Your Brilliance. Yes, everybody's listening to us. You are brilliant. We want you to know that you are brilliant and that you need to accept your brilliance. You may not feel like it today, you may not feel like it every day, but you are. And so join Jacynth's Facebook group, Accept Your Brilliance. We want to help you in that group to really understand who you are, build on who you are, understand, why and how you're different, and how this whole time can be a real blessing. Just tell us a little bit more about the people that you want to support through this Accept Your Brilliance Facebook group.
I want to support people, those who are self-employed that are stuck at the moment, the entrepreneurs, those who are in business, successful business owners, those who are thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do over the next 3 months? Those are the people that I really, really want to support, to really help them to release their positive thinking, to really help them to move, to unlock those secrets, to move from fear to fortune.
I love that, from moving from fear to fortune. And yeah, so many people are at that place right now. They're not sure what they should do. They're not sure where they should go. They're not sure how and why and, whatever. But we're going to carry on these calls every single week to inspire people during this whole process, how to function in the storm, what to do in the storm. Two more things very quickly, Jacynth, I want your opinion on before we close off. Now, look, we talked about not being sucked in with the negatives and not being sucked in with Netflix and social media and sort of being caught up in all of those things. We talked about creation. We use the next 90 days to create your life goals, because indeed, after that, you will pay. I want to talk a bit about rules. The rules have changed. Marketing has changed, business has changed, mindsets have changed, the way we communicate has changed, the fact that we're all online has changed. I've been telling people for 5 years to get online and they're now doing it. All of this has changed, but some people are still fighting the change. The rules are the rules. What would you say about those people who are thinking, I don't know if I can do this? I don't know if I am brilliant. Yeah, it's okay for you to say it because you're a business owner and you're successful or whatever, but I'm a startup or I'm just someone. What would you say to those people? Tell me.
We've all heard that saying that says, fake it until you make it, right? And I am just saying to you, get out there, take the first step. The amount of time that I've heard people talk about their hopes and their dreams, about businesses they want to set up, they've not done it, and then somebody down the road, somebody next door has set it up. Somebody who's got less experience, less knowledge, less passion. If you are passionate about it, have a go. Have a go. Get a coach, talk to friends, get a mentor. Now is the time. There is so much online that you can access. There are free resources online that you can access. There are programs, and I know Camilitta, you have a number of webinars that are not expensive that people can access. It's time to invest in yourself, because this next 90 days is absolutely...
Some people say to you, I don't have any money to invest. I just lost my job, or I'm just been furloughed, or just been, put on hold, or, my business is stopped. What would you say to those people who genuinely have an excuse, their excuse, but genuinely have a concern? What would you say to those people? What can they do?
We can all invest in ourselves. Most people have got access to internet, probably through smartphones. There is a world of information on your smartphone. We can read extensively, and again, from your smartphone, pick different, whatever you're interested in, go to your phone, go to the internet, research it, read all about it, read what other people are doing is really important. So then you can formulate what it is that you want to do. Take time out to think. Too often we try to think in the busyness and the hurly-burly of everything.
Yeah.
When you go for your daily exercise, we're all allowed 1 hour exercise a day. Take time to think, look around you, see what you see. Take time to clear your mind. Just breathe. It will come. The fear, I keep wanting to say this to people, fear can paralyze you. Don't allow it to paralyze you. Take a step. It doesn't matter how small it is. A small step will lead to the next step, will lead to the next step. And when you look back, you realize how far you've come and that you've really learned to overcome that fear.
Absolutely. Well, look, I'm just so glad. We're going to do this every week, maybe 2-3 times a week. We're going to just get on with it. We're going to help people to function correctly in the storm. It is a storm. Let's not, brandish it to what it's not. People are losing their lives, sadly. People are losing their homes, they're losing their businesses, they're losing a lot of things. So it's a storm. However, a storm has a start and a storm has an end. It does not carry on. There's an end. There's an end. And I did a post recently. Look behind the storm. The sun is still shining.
Yeah.
It will carry on shining. So tell us about the group again and how people can join and all of that.
So the Facebook group is Accept Your Brilliance. So please go to the group, Accept Your Brilliance on Facebook, and I will accept you. And it's for successful people, entrepreneurs, people who are not sure about their next step, people who just really want to get on and do something, really passionate, want to get on and do something, and want to acknowledge their brilliance. This group is for you. Accept Your Brilliance.
Oh, I love it. I love the name. I love the name because we're all brilliant in our own ways.
Absolutely.
We're all brilliant. So Jacynth, thank you so much for your time today. And we will do this again. So we will get a lot more people coming on. Again, people, guys, if you got any questions, go to jacynthivey.com. You could always message me as well. Most of you know who I am. It's right behind there. Just go to jacynthivey.com. Send her a quick message. She will, really truly help you to accept your brilliance. This is your moment to look behind the storm and to embrace who you are. Jacynth, your last parting words, my darling.
This is definitely your moment. Stay on the boat. There are possibilities beyond the storm, beyond your wildest dreams.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you, Jacynth.
Thank you.
Meet you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.